So I'm very happy to start this SaaS growth event. So thank you for making this introduction. So I think James so already introduced me. So I'm Thibaut Ceyrolle. So I was a founder for Snowflake. So 20 years of experience in IT and software. Before Snowflake, I was working in Bazaar Voice. I was a VP EMEA for Bazaar Voice for 4 years, and before that, 7 years in BMC Software. So I have 15 minutes, I think. So I'm not the best at keeping the time, like a good French, but I will try to do it. I promise, James, because if I'm late, people will be late after. So I will try to run through the Snowflake story and specifically the EMEA growth, where I was in charge. So just before going into the story of Snowflake, I wanted to share, because of the audience today, why did I choose Snowflake? What was in my head when I did that, and what was the first step of building this? So I had different experiences in my life, as James mentioned, where I mostly fixed things, but not necessarily create or build from scratch. So I worked in IT services, hardware also at the very early stage, software and digital marketing software. But what was clearly missing to my profile was to build something from scratch. So, and what I did, so I tried to activate my network. So this is something you need to keep in mind, is be maniac on your results and what you do and what you achieve, because it's picked by yourself. So it means that if you are doing the right things in your career, people will know, and you don't need to over talk about what you did, because your results speak by yourself. And people know what you achieved. So I was in conversation with John McMahon, so that I knew from BMC Software. So for people who don't know John, it's probably one of the best sales leader in the world. And in June 2016, I called him and I said, yeah, it's probably my time to move. And he talked about different opportunities, so not only Snowflake, but also others. And in June 2016, he told me, yeah, have a look at Snowflake, because this is probably a very disruptive technology and something that can change that can change the market. So I was doing my homework a little bit, and I met Chris Degnan in September 2016. It took me around 4 months of due diligence, and what was very important for me was to be so early stage, building from things from scratch, so no presence in EMEA, working for an American company, because of the speed of growth and what I was looking for. And I didn't care about title. So what I mean by that, when I started, I knew that I will go back to a sales position, and I will need to sell myself, I will need to sell the company, and we need to sell the product. So something very important for me was to not confuse a title and an opportunity, because I had a lot of very, very nice titles like GM and CEO and other opportunities, but the real opportunity, I felt that this was a very disruptive technology, and I was looking also to a move to the cloud. So the move to the cloud is also very important, because I was looking and see what ServiceNow did, and because I didn't want necessarily to go and after a company that will invent a market. Why? Because it's very difficult, specifically when you start EMEA. What I was looking is really having a disruptive technology that can change needs that company already have, and this was the case for Snowflake. So 4 months of due diligence, I started. So I started alone. So my family, where I am right now, with this poor connection in Normandy, they were telling me, "You are crazy. You are managing around like 150 people. Why are you going alone in a very small office?" like a very small bathroom in Paddington and start this. And I said, okay, I think this will be something big. So this is something you need to consider when you start a startup. If you feel there is a lot of risk associated, you need to be ready personally, and you need, because this is extremely time consuming. The first year I started, I think I spent like 200 nights out of London, and this is something you need to be prepared for, because this is something that can impact your family. So I started alone, but very quickly. So in December, I literally signed the contract, and in January I went to start this activity, and I immediately hired some people. So one pre-sales, obviously from the market. It was extremely important to have a very strong knowledge. One BDR that came from the US, so with Snowflake knowledge, and one sales, and one guy that will be a future manager. When I started, I really act like an entrepreneur, because it was a San Francisco, San Mateo based company. And in those cases, when people wake up, it's like 3 p.m. for you in the afternoon. So it's very difficult. And when I started, I remember everybody was saying, yeah, you need to take some people from the space. This will be very easy. The ramp up will be extremely fast. And I said, no, I don't think so. And what I wanted is to make sure that, because I felt the technology was disruptive, but what was very important is to find champion builders and not necessarily tech specialists. And the first people that came, even the first teams that I built, were not people from the data market. And after this, we hire some people. So what was very important is to find risk takers, people who are able to go on a disruptive market, who are able to leave a job where they are successful and trust me at the beginning. And after that, also, what was very important is to have those guys with unprecedented track record, very strong champion builder, because learning a technology is not something the most difficult for a sales guy if you have people smart enough that can spend some time, that are coachable, and that are able to learn. So at the beginning, I needed to build trust and prove to your team, prove to the team that I was able to do it. So I said that I will obviously lead by example and do that myself. So I did a lot of sales at the beginning, and it's okay. This is probably the only thing I know to do in my life, and I spend a lot of time doing that, and also the guys. So everybody stepped back before coming. They came to Snowflake, and after this, we spent a ton of time with the pre-sales to really learn the technology. And it was like whiteboarding, and it was really like storytelling, and talk a lot about this. So at the beginning, I spent hours and hours for hiring for people that I could trust. So this was very important at the beginning to have foundations. And I was lucky enough, and I thank them, honestly, to have such a good team of people with the right character, with a proven track record, with the right drive, and also the people, as I said, who are risk takers. At the beginning, it's very important. So you need to inspire people and not necessarily enforce things. And I know that Andy White is in this meeting today. I had a very good conversation with him last week, and I was talking about this of not enforcing but inspiring. And it's very important to not necessarily focus on KPI at the beginning, because you need to win hearts and mind. And everything is on awareness. Everybody is here to sell, whatever the function. So at the beginning, honestly, your only work is doing pipeline generation, convincing partners, and do some meeting. So we started. We had some first customers, and this is where I said to the team, okay, guys, you need to be. We are in something that will change your life, my life, and the rest of the team. We will change the market. And we had this setup with Julien Alterac that started with me in the UK, of saying to the guy, okay, guys, this is something life changing. So we changed the motion on hiring. It was very important to be extremely strong on hiring. So we worked with 3 headhunters in exclusivity to make sure that we will be able to hire the right people. And we had one guy, fantastic, Chad Pitts in the US, who was able to coordinate everything. And those 3 headhunters had regions. So we started in the UK, and after this, I developed the market in other regions. And those guys were dedicated. Why I'm saying that? Because when you hire headhunters, it's like when you sell a house. If you have 10 real estate agencies who are talking about your house on the market, it's a red flag. When you have only one and is coachable and he learned how to speak about Snowflake, then it's way more easy. So second step was hiring, and after this was to focus on local success story. So we focus on customers at the beginning, whatever the size of deals. We didn't care. Why? Because we needed some names locally and European names and not necessarily American names. And very quickly, so we really focus on those customers, making success stories, and we use marketing after to talk about it. And we needed to have the same maniac story regarding events, because you can spend your money like this very quickly on this kind of event. Very quickly, early in January, I knew that this was something that will change the market and that we will expand outside the UK. And in January, so just before starting, I already anticipated and called some guys to start the future markets, so Germany and France, that are the biggest one. So I did already some calls, not necessarily focusing only in the UK, but also doing some calls to make sure that I will have the team to start those countries. So after that, we started to have a lot of new customers, and thankfully they trust us. The churn was 0%, and it was time to implement. We had more and more people. So we started in January, the UK. We started after that Nordics. Nordics is most of the time for disruptive technology our good region. So not necessarily everybody is going after this region, but they are extremely they like and they want to adopt new technology. So this was the case, and we were extremely successful in this region. So after that, we started Germany and France. So, and it's time also to focus on sales execution. So I work with Medic for 15 years. So this is what we implemented with no exception. It's extremely important. And as I said, I took some people with experience, and the manager where every manager in the team was first selling Snowflake. And after this, they were able to manage the team. And they first apply also in their career Medic. So when I was talking about this enforcement versus inspiration, and those guys had the right track record, implement this, and after this, they were able to lead the team. So very important to pipeline. So pipeline generation, nobody likes that, but it's not an option. And what we did, we had like one day dedicated pipeline generation. In the morning, everybody is here, BDR, sales, they will say the number of meetings they will get. And at the end of the day, we all regroup, we do a summary where every single person is talking about the meetings they get, the lessons learned, and the results. And after this, we went everybody, when it was possible, in a bar to talk about it. So what was very important also was to develop the partner ecosystem. So I remember extremely well, I met Capgemini, I think 1 month after starting, they were looking at me like, okay, what those guys are doing. So now they are extremely active with Snowflake, but same, like customers, like sales people, I needed to find partners that were risk takers. And some people really feel the potential. They came to us, or we were able to convince us. So what I did, it's not easy to find partners when you have nothing. So when we started, we had 0. And for example, when we started France, I proposed, I had a conversation with Talend, so the ETL company, and I said to them, to be creative when you want to attract different things, and it's a little bit the same on customers. As VP EMEA, when I started France, I sold myself the first 4 customers without team, and this is something extremely important. Okay, the internet connection is not good. James? Okay, so it's not me. Okay, and I'm done in 5 minutes. So I could speak about hours about Snowflake, but I'm living Snowflake. It has been the best experience of my life, but I did what was needed for me. I was really like to build, to develop, and to create everything. So we went from 0 to 14 different countries now, where we have team, probably 15. 0 to last week, I think there were around 700 people, 750 people, employees in EMEA. So and last week also, I was thinking about a mantra that could resonate, and I saw a quote that summarized a little bit the kind of mantra I was trying to keep with the team. And it was, since day one, it was really like speak with honesty, think with sincerity, and act with integrity. And this is something very important. One of the most important value for me when I hire people is integrity. As soon as you have problem of integrity, it's very difficult to scale the company. So those 3 phrases are extremely important for me, and I try to be extremely honest. I try to be extremely sincere. It's okay also to explain that you have problems. With the US, for example, when you scale or when you have difficulties to hire. But if you do that with the right sincerity and honesty, and don't hide anything, this is extremely priceless. So in terms of priorities, when we scale, so hiring, everybody's talking about this, but this is absolutely key. So honestly, having these 3 headhunters working in exclusivity was extremely good. So now we are not using anymore because we have such a big.
Thibaut, I think we've lost you on the connection. So we're going to wrap up there. But thank you very much for your talk.